What if Dwight D. Eisenhower's leadership of the Normandy landing wasn't about heroism at all, but something far more calculated? Why do his most celebrated achievements, highways, NASA, raise more questions the deeper you dig? And what dark secrets was he really hinting at with his notorious military-industrial complex farewell? How much of Eisenhower's story is national myth, and how much is the truth nobody wants to discuss? Dwight D. Eisenhower is often immortalized as the flawless hero of D-Day, the mastermind who led Allied forces to victory with unmatched brilliance. But history, while not without its awe-inspiring moments, deserves a closer look beneath the iconic image. Truthfully, Eisenhower was chosen as Supreme Commander not for battlefield exploits. He had never seen real combat before World War II, but for his remarkable knack for diplomacy and leadership under pressure. His selection was a testament to his ability to unite fractious Allied commanders and keep fragile coalitions intact, a task as vital as any military maneuver. The reality of D-Day? Eisenhower's decisions were cautious and deeply considered, delayed by chaotic weather and genuine uncertainty. The victory, while historic, resulted from overwhelming Allied resources and some crucial Axis missteps, not from the solitary genius of one man. To honor Eisenhower is to respect his extraordinary leadership, not mythologize him as a lone savior. His legend is built as much on his capacity to unite people as to command armies, a legacy shaped by both reality and reverence. Five-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower, the embodiment of American military greatness, or so we're told. Here's what they don't teach you in those glossy history books. Eisenhower's path to the rarest rank in the Army had less to do with battlefield valor and more with navigating the world's biggest, prickliest group therapy session. Medals for marksmanship? Hardly. Try awards for patience. You think those 5 bright stars came from leading heroic charges under fire? Sorry to disappoint. Eisenhower's front lines were packed not with bullets but with paperwork and political headaches. The brass didn't need a warrior. They needed a referee for squabbling Allied egos and a master of "don't make Churchill cry." The 5-star rank? Invented mid-war, practically tailor-made to prop up the Americans in Allied meetings and keep up with the British peacocks in their field marshals' uniforms. Say what you will, Eisenhower was the ultimate crisis manager, the calm in an international storm of overgrown egos. It's no accident his stars shine brightest in wartime conference rooms, not on the blood-soaked ground. True respect? He earned it for outmaneuvering politicians and generals, not enemy troops. His legacy is an iron stomach and nerves of steel, not a trigger finger. Now that's something even Patton had to salute. Picture this. America, land of democracy, elects a president who, wait for it, never held a single elected office, never ran for city council, never even bothered with a school board. Dwight D. Eisenhower waltzed straight from West Point strategy lectures and military briefings to the Oval Office. Political resume? Emptier than a campaign promise after Election Day. And yet, while career politicians were busy sharpening speeches and trading favors, Eisenhower's only asset was, well, being the guy everyone liked. Voters swooned over his genial smile and war hero glow, completely ignoring the fact that he'd spent his career navigating military hierarchies, not Capitol Hill backrooms. Let's be honest. America didn't choose a slick politician. It hired the world's most popular project manager. Ironically, the greatest trick Eisenhower ever pulled wasn't beating the Nazis or building highways. It was making the highest office in the land look like a retirement gig for generals with good PR. Still, one can't help but respect his leap. No political baggage, no strings attached, just nerve, grit, and a reputation carved out of history itself. Now that's a plot twist even Hollywood would envy. The great American myth, Dwight D. Eisenhower, tireless road-building visionary, single-handedly gifting his nation the gleaming interstate highway system, all for progress and unity. That's the bedtime story. But let's rip aside the curtain, because real history comes with detours. Sure, Eisenhower inked the deal and pushed the Federal Aid Highway Act through Congress, but Let's be blunt. It wasn't a philanthropic outburst or some sudden love for American motorists. The father of the interstates was thinking less about family vacations and more about military logistics. Cold War paranoia? Absolutely. The idea: make sure tanks could roll coast to coast and cities could be evacuated faster than you can say, Red Scare. Highways as defensive arteries. America paved with fear as much as with concrete. Meanwhile, business tycoons popped champagne. The projects meant a feast for contractors, car makers, and oil barons. A colossal, government-financed jackpot. And as for city neighborhoods torn apart by new expressways? Wreckage was written off as progress, with dissent steamrolled by bulldozers. Let's give begrudging respect. Eisenhower sold the ultimate infrastructure bill, camouflaged as patriotism, engineered for profit, and immortalized in legend. Only in America. So you thought Dwight D. Eisenhower created NASA because he dreamed of Americans reaching for the stars? Please. The true origin story of America's space agency owes less to starry-eyed idealism and more to a presidential headache with Sputnik-sized migraines. The USSR lobbed a beeping metal ball into orbit and, boom, suddenly, every American household was convinced nuclear death would rain from above. Eisenhower wasn't starstruck, he was panic-struck. Creating NASA wasn't about cosmic exploration, it was damage control. If ever there was a president who stumbled into a new frontier, it was Ike, shuffling bureaucrats in a mad dash to calm public hysteria and save political face. Let's not forget, Eisenhower actually dreaded the whole space race spectacle. He preferred satellites for military surveillance, not planting flags on moonscapes. The technocrats won out, NASA was born, and a new chapter in American hero myth was inked, hyped up, sanitized, and sold as destiny. Give the man credit. Eisenhower made sure America didn't get left in the space dust. But don't buy the legend without reading the footnotes. Sometimes history gets propelled by embarrassment, not inspiration. Forget the legend. Eisenhower didn't stride into the Oval Office, snap his fingers, and end the Korean War with a mighty display of battlefield magic. No, America's favorite general-turned-president inherited an ugly, deadlocked conflict, and the real story is as messy as the 38th parallel. Eisenhower campaigned on the promise to end the forgotten war. Inspiring, but don't be fooled. His peace was grounded in nuclear bluff and diplomatic muscle, not battlefield glory. Ike made headlines by threatening to expand the war, even to the atomic level. Was he bluffing, or was that famous poker face hiding the ultimate wild card? The communists blinked, not because of American tank divisions, but because they rid Eisenhower's steely nerves for what they were, a leader who would risk scorched earth for a handshake. Let's not romanticize it. The victory in Korea was armistice, not triumph. 2 Koreas, 1 DMZ, and a conflict frozen in time. But here's the grudging respect. Eisenhower refused to let American lives be wasted for empty gestures. He cut through military theatrics, called everyone's bluff, and closed the bloodiest chapter on his own terms. Peace, American style. Not with a parade, but with a pen and a poker face of iron. That's leadership that rewrites its own legend. Marching into history books as a civil rights pioneer? Not quite. Dwight D. Eisenhower's record on civil rights is served up today with a side of reverence, but let's look past the polished statues and schoolbook slogans. Eisenhower didn't storm into Washington brandishing the torch of equality. He tiptoed in, gritting his teeth. The civil rights movement crashed into his presidency, forcing his hand every step of the way. When 9 black students tried simply to attend school in Little Rock, the state of Arkansas tried to roll back the calendar a century. Eisenhower's response? He dispatched federal troops, not in a blaze of moral clarity, but as a last resort to save federal authority from utter collapse. His Civil Rights Acts of 1957 and 1960, watered down, diluted by Congress, and passed mostly to protect America's international reputation during the Cold War, not to spark a new age of freedom. The truth: Eisenhower believed more in order than activism. His heart was with gradual progress, not with sit-ins and marches. Yet, credit where due. When history demanded a backbone, Ike found his. He did enough to move the needle, however reluctantly, proving that sometimes progress is led not by firebrands, but by pragmatists dragged half-willingly toward justice. It's not the hero's tale you learned in civics class, but it's the complicated victory America got. Patriotic legend says Eisenhower gave America its full set. Alaska, Hawaii, 50 stars, baby. Time to stitch a new flag and cue the fireworks. History in the making. But drop the confetti for a second and ask yourself, was Ike some visionary unifier? Or just the guy cutting ribbons at the opening of the world's largest franchise? Let's be real. These historic statehoods weren't born out of some grand national embrace. They were backroom deals fueled by Cold War chess and electoral math. Alaska was a military outpost to poke at the Soviets. Hawaii, a tropical PR coup to show the world America could be both imperial and inclusive. As for the local populations, their wishes played second fiddle to senators counting seats and generals ticking off strategic boxes. Eisenhower milked the spectacle, turning statehood into a global flex and a domestic distraction. 50 states, sure, but the man behind the pen was less a nation builder, more a political showman. Behind those spotless gloves, pure, old-school, star-spangled calculation. Let's all bow to history's shiny headline. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the very first American president to beam himself into living rooms in glorious color. Revolutionary, right? Hardly. Peel back the static and what you've really got isn't visionary leadership, but mid-century image management straight out of Madison Avenue. Eisenhower didn't pioneer color TV because he cared about the future of media or the democracy of information. He did it because the White House had finally woken up to the power of the perfect picture. America's post-war optimism needed a comforting, trustworthy face, and Ike's PR team knew exactly how to serve it. Big, bold, and better than life itself. Election year, turbulent times? Just tune in and watch the steady hand at the helm, now broadcast in full living color. Let's not kid ourselves. The American public wasn't getting a clearer view of presidential policy. It was getting a well-choreographed, candy-coated version of reality, carefully framed for maximum reassurance. Eisenhower's color TV trailblazing? Less about progress, more about packaging. America's first true president for the camera age. Eisenhower's parting gift to America wasn't a victory parade or a warm fireside hug. It was a cold, clinical warning that echoed straight through the steel and glass corridors of power. "Beware the military-industrial complex," he declared. And suddenly the nation that worshipped generals and billion-dollar bombers got a taste of its own medicine. Let's get real. This wasn't a last-minute conscience dump from Mr. Middle America. The same Ike who greenlit budgets for missiles, highways, and secret agencies suddenly wanted everyone to clutch their pearls about big business and big bombs in bed together. Please. The architect handing out blueprints is now spooked that the building's too sturdy. And yet, credit where it stings. Eisenhower saw the beast he'd helped feed, and at least tried to warn us before slipping out the back door. Spin or sincerity, it was the most honest moment of his presidency. A straight-faced, color-broadcast prophecy that power, profit, and perpetual war would haunt America for decades to come. If only he'd said it sooner, or shouted a little louder over the marching bands. Behind every legend, there's always a far messier, and far more interesting, truth.